Welcome everyone. This week we're going to be exploring the concept of neurodiversity, which helps us understand how and why people's brains work differently and why that recognition is important. I wanted to provide you with a quick primer on neurodiversity to supplement this week's readings and videos. To begin with, we can think of neurodiversity in the same lens that we think of biodiversity. Just as nature has many different types of plants and animals, humans have many different types of brains. Each brain is unique, and these differences are normal and valuable, not something to judge or fix. Neurodiversity simply means that everyone's brain works a little differently. Some people focus for long periods. Some people notice tiny details. Some people think in pictures, and others think in words. Some students learn best by reading, others by listening, and some need to move while thinking. All of these differences are part of normal human variation. The key takeaway is that no one way of thinking is better or wrong. Differences in the brain are just natural variation. For example, some students study best in silence, while others prefer background music. Both are normal ways of learning. Now that we understand the idea of neurodiversity generally, let's look at a more formal definition of neurodiversity. Merriam-Webster defines neurodiversity as individual differences in brain functioning regarded as normal variations within the human population. The concept that differences in brain functioning are normal, that brains are not neurotypical and should not be stigmatized, and that people with neurodivergent brains should not be excluded from groups, organizations, or communities. Let's take a moment and break this definition down. There are three key points here. The first is differences are normal. Brains are naturally different. Brains have natural variations. The second is there should be no stigma. Just because someone's brain works differently than the majority, just because someone's brain thinks in a different way, doesn't make them wrong or less than. And finally, if you'll notice, this definition speaks to inclusions. People with different brains should be welcomed and included. People whose brains are on a different variation than the majority should still be included and welcomed to societies, communities, and groups. Let's look at some concrete examples of neurodiversity. Neurodiversity includes differences in thinking, learning, and processing information. Some examples include, and this list is not exhaustive, these are just some of the more well-known examples. Some of these examples include ADHD, in which some individuals are highly creative and energetic, even if sometimes they have trouble with focus. Another example is autism, in which some people notice patterns and details that others might miss, and some of these individuals experience sensory sensitivities, like being sensitive to light or sound. And finally, dyslexia. Some people who find reading challenging are strong problem solvers, or excel in visual or spatial tasks. Remember that this list is not exhaustive, and these characteristics attached to each of these different variations are general tendencies, not rules. Not every person with ADHD, autism, or dyslexia will experience the same exact strengths or challenges. Neurodiversity is about recognizing variation, not labeling or stereotyping. So now that we've got an idea of what neurodiversity is and we've seen some of the more common examples, let's discuss why it matters for communities and learning environments. Neurodiversity matters because it helps us create environments in classrooms, workplaces, and communities that support everyone. By recognizing that different brains bring different strengths, we can foster inclusion, respect, and understanding. It also challenges the idea that there's a single right way to think, to learn, or to work. Embracing neurodiversity reduces stigma and makes society stronger, because all kinds of thinkers and all kinds of brains can contribute their ideas and talents. Let me ask you this, and you can think on it this week as you go through your reading materials and the weekly videos. How might classrooms or workplaces change if neurodiversity was fully accepted? To sum up, neurodiversity is the normal variation in how brains work. Different does not mean less than capable or less capable, and inclusion, understanding, and respect help everyone thrive. The world is a richer and more interesting place because of brain diversity, just like it's richer because of culture, ethnic, and linguistic diversity. Every kind of brain has value, and we all benefit when we recognize that. Again, please take the time this week to watch your course videos and to watch your to go through your reading materials. This lecture is not exhaustive. It's meant to supplement those class materials. I hope you found this helpful. If you have any questions about any of this content, please feel free to reach out. I'm always just an email away. Have a great week.